Welcome back to Outdoor Exploration. I'm Emily, and you haven't seen a lot of us over the last few months, partly because of health reasons. I have some chronic health issues, but really a lot of it was because it's been pouring for about 4 months now, most days, most of the hours of most days, and as you can see, that changed. So, in fact, we had a few sunny days recently, and now we have snow. I come from a family where we call each other when the first flakes fall and we say, "Look out your window, what do you see?" And sometimes, depending who we're calling, we don't see the snow, or someone has it and someone else doesn't. We also had a dog who used to love snow so much that once, when we thought she had to be put down because she had been hit by a car and hadn't moved for, I think, a week or more, it snowed just on the day she was to be put down, and she got up and went out and rolled in the snow and recovered. So I'm out here in this most wonderful weather. I love all weathers, but really we get snow so rarely here that it's so awesome. Anyway, I thought, let's get out and find what's lovely at this time of year, which, in case you're watching this video at a different time of year, it is now late January. We have a broody hen who got broody because it was so warm, I think, and this is really not an appropriate time for her, but we'll check in on her and her eggs and see what's blooming in the January snow. Come with me. One of my favorite winter flowers, and the showiest in my yard anyway, is this witch hazel. So my parents gave me this lovely little witch hazel, which I hear there are some fragrant types, but this isn't fragrant. It just blooms beautifully every winter, gets snowed upon, and then it carries on blooming. And how wonderful to me, not only that it blooms in my yard, but that it reminds me all the other hazels, not in my yard, but our indigenous hazelnut trees, are also beginning to bloom. So I would like to take you and show you one of those. So this is the hazel at my parents' house, actually, and you can see it's getting all its catkins. Many of them are really tiny still, and on top of that, it's getting the teeniest, tiniest, most brilliant magenta flowers. Well, not ever, obviously, but that I find in the wild at this time of year. They're amazing. So if you look right here, there's a little one, and it's like there's the bud, and then there's this teeny weeny little spider of pink on the end of it. It's nearly red. It's so brilliant. And then all the catkins in their different stages of readiness. And that tells us also that the alder, which I don't have around my property, so I'm not showing you right now, but they will be, if they're not starting already, they will be soon producing their catkins and all their pollen, which makes people terribly allergic, some people. And yeah, oh, and we can eat those, by the way, alder catkins. You can fry them up. Dip them and deep fry them. Yum. Dip them, I mean, like batter them and deep fry them. It's really good. Or just stir fry them, cook them into things. Obviously, you want to shake off most of the pollen or get them at a time they're not producing that, and before they're all dry and crunchy. Yeah, that's all. Just some lovely wild trees. This does get hazelnuts, actually. If you ever find them in the woods, I mean, the likelihood that you'll beat the squirrels and the birds and whatever else to them is incredibly minute. But we do have wild hazelnuts in our forests. I love that. I so love that. Okay, let me slip down this hill and take you to our garden. So there are all sorts of, brassicas of different types, cauliflowers we have over there, and kale that the chickens have been pecking at. Oh, and broccolis that are kind of barely hanging on still. But the stuff that's just appearing is this year's garlic. So I have under the snow some little ones here are a couple appearing, and yeah, they're here and there. Hopefully we'll have plentiful later in the year, but yeah, I love these little bits of newness in the spring. Speaking of bits of newness, let's go look at our broody hen. Chicks are newness, right? As you might have seen in recent videos, we have to split up our chickens into 2 flocks because the roosters are fighting too terribly, and they're both too useful in different ways to keep together or to get rid of one. So we now have the main coop and the Splash's house, which my 2 capable teenagers have built this last week. And the Splash and all the smaller chickens, as well as our broody hen, have moved in. So we're going up there and check out how she's doing, and I'll tell you a bit about that. So one day in the warm, dry summer, this will get a coat of red paint too. And here we have, oh, hi Blue. Blue and the Splash. Everybody's hiding out because it's plain miserable for them. As you can see up near the house where the chicken coops are, it's not even a nice snow at all. I mean, it's pretty soggy snow that we have in general, but this is just mud, and they're all hiding. So in here though, we have Peeves, who is sitting on 7 eggs, and we've candled them and they're developing and everything's great until today. So first of all, we had some reservations about allowing her to keep the eggs because it's January, and I don't think chickens should go broody in January, but it got warm and she did. And we decided, whatever, just let chickens be chickens and see how it goes. And we're kind of taking that perspective with our mini teeny weeny farm here, that we're experimenting and trying to allow things to go their course and live naturally as much as possible, within humane means anyway. And yeah, so we're letting her keep the eggs, and so far it's been fine. Every day she gets off once and she has a bunch of food and water and has a gigantic poop, all the poops from an entire 24 hours at once, and then she goes back. And usually by the time she gets back, Kalamata, who, well, you can't see her because she's in the dark back there, but she's our little copper marron hen. She goes and sits on Peeves' eggs and tucks them all under herself and basically looks after them until Peeves comes back, and then Peeves gets confused and goes in the next box, so not on her own eggs. At which point we usually find Kalamata and kick her off the eggs and put Peeves back on, or at least show her the way. There she is. But today we didn't notice this had happened, and Kalamata got off the eggs and Peeves stayed in the wrong box and was sitting just beside her eggs, in other words, and the eggs were cold. So this is the first time this has happened. They're actually due to hatch in a couple of days, so we don't know if they've survived, and I don't really think we will know for a couple of days. So that's it. This is our lovely Peevesy. Some broody hens are kind of vicious. She's not with me anyway. Hey, can I say hello? And if you look at her, she has the broody hen look. It's like she's in a trance. That's actually how I knew she was broody in the first place. Hi, sweetheart. I know your eggs got so cold. We were worried. And yeah, so she just sits here staring basically for about 23 and a half of every 24 hours. And I guess we'll let you know later in the week how things are going with that. Hopefully the eggs have made it. Hopefully she is a good mother, because that's something else to find out. Remember, all these chicks were incubator chicks, so they've never had a mother. It's all instinct and I guess communal learning at this point. Yeah, so that's it. Happy snow days, everybody. Happy exploring. and I will get back to you once we have some more news about our chicken and her chicks, hopefully. Bye-bye.